Hey guys, welcome to our channel. So we're trying to get through this Spin Doctors decode because I have a little bit of time today, and uh, we've already got our extractions, and we've got them to go forwards and backwards in the stock market or finance. We got them to go forwards and backwards in genetics. We got them to go forwards and backwards in chemicals, and forwards and backwards in research groups, which was interesting, and technology. And now random hits, and I have not yet got into translations because it looks like I'll just have to mention them. I had a lot to get through on this without even hitting translations. Okay, guys, that's why I didn't do it. And we got a couple of translations in here, by the way, and they're interesting ones. These are just random. So we had says to said in the song, we had ones to one in the song, and we had loves to loved in the song. And if you crossed off SA and SA, because they're alike, you end up with YS and ID, and you got that down here. You cross off ONE and ONE, because that's alike, and you're left with S. We put that here. And crossed off LOVE on both of these, and you're left with S and D, and you've got S and D here. Now, interestingly enough, we have this YSI water monitoring, but they do so much more, right? And they've came up, and I'll just tell you right now, we'll get into it now. It takes a twist here, guys, but not here. So at YSI, you get your YSI water monitoring, but we know they do so much more, right? Medical and all sorts of stuff. We've been through it in this search. Um, but they came up again. And so once again, I circled them. All right, they're here in this search. They're here in this technology search. They're here in this research group search. They came up in the chemical. They came up in the chemical search, and we got them circled here. They did not come up in genetics, surprisingly, or the stock market, but they came up several times throughout this search, and a lot of this points to them because of their medical research, and they research a host of things, all right? But this takes a twist. I'm going to tell you this takes a twist. So SIDS comes up with immediately sudden infant death syndrome again. Um, and also, I'm sure if I'd have continued looking, I'd have got that data sheet, right? So then we moved on from that and got DS, and that ends up being Alzheimer's biomarkers, congortorium, Down syndrome. So, and so, wow, where is it? Anyway, oh yeah, there it is. Alzheimer's biomarker, ABC-DS. And it's a joint study conducted by two groups of researchers. So I'll provide that link. And then now here's where it starts to take the twist, guys. Because after this, and I thought it was something else. I thought it was the next one we got, but actually, if I really stop and look at it, it starts to take a twist right here. DS is the Bureau of Diplomatic Security, U.S. Department of State. Diplomatic Security. The Diplomatic Security Service is the law enforcement and security arm of the U.S. Department of State. So, yeah, you got a couple of things here, and here you have a U.S. department. And that's kind of where it starts to take a turn, guys, because next is SD. And the first thing that came up was Sandridge Energy, which we had in the finance search. It was on the stock market, all right? It came up again. But we went by that, and SD then stood for Citristantist, and I can't really pronounce it. It's German. SD Security Service. It was a department in the Nazis' SS, and it was SD. Oh, so now you got a Department of Defense here in the U.S. Now you've got Nazi SD Security Department. So, or Sicherheitsdienst. Dienst. I don't know how to pronounce it, but yeah, you have they're Nazi. They were in the, and I'll provide a link for that on Britannica. And that got you through going forwards. Now you came backwards, and right away, DSS, you got Defense Security Service, U.S. Federal Agency. Oh, all right. And DSS, Counterintelligence, offers monthly secure VTCs with cleared industry as a means to share information on a variety of topics. And there's a whole thing here you can check out. It's dss.mil. It's the U.S. Department of Defense. So, and then, oh, I was going to tie that all together, but I can't yet. DI then ends up being first, translated directly from Chinese. DI is first in Chinese. I'll keep that in mind because we have another translation coming up. But then DI also is Dynacore International, and they deal with national security. Dynacore International is a global government services provider in support of U.S. national security and foreign policy objectives. And so I will provide that link. And now we can note that in the random searches, let me just, because I'm not going to circle them, but I will underline them. Hopefully we can see this. And these guys here, and these guys here. So, yeah. So if we can see this, you've got this depart. You got national security, national security, Nazi national security, and diplomatic security. All in this random search it went. And then SY, guys, was on top of SY Partners. SY Partners helps leaders transform their organizations, their teams, and themselves. And so I'm not sure, but what significance they may have, but there they are. They're there. And SY also wound up being council in Greek. And translations, you have our first council. First council is there. That's an interesting thing to find with all this stuff here. And that's it. That gets you through random hits. And I could have brought first council down and decoded that. And I might do that yet, but I figured we'd get going through this. And I think it's interesting enough that you got first council there. And what do you think that means? But I'll do translations and see if anything comes up. And then we'll convert all this stuff to numbers, numerology numbers first. And we'll run that through the ringer. and we'll see what we get. Then we'll run the binary code through the ringer. What we can, the binary code will have to go as one code, right? But we're running through the category ringers. We'll see if what comes up, if anything. And then we'll see if, I mean, that might have changed. I mean, would YSI calculate the national security stuff along with it? Well, of course. Let's check out their, we're doing it. Let's check them out. I mean, we already been here. Their history. We've been through this, but let's just take a look at a couple of things. They did a lot of that, a lot of medical stuff, but did they do anything? Biological oxygen monitor, industrial research. First immobilized enzyme activated. Polyographic sensor. So, any of this stuff. First commercial alcohol measurement using immobilized enzyme electrode technology. Government, right? Breathalyzers. So yeah, you got first lab outside Germany, accredited by the German Federal Bureau of Standards. This is YSI, guys. That's interesting. So there's your German connection right there. That was in 1987. I'm just skimming through this, guys. Independent oxygen sensor. First chemically wired fructose electrode. Oh, named Company of the Year by National ESOP Association. Yeah, here's some more first. First conductivity instrument using resistance ratio technology used for high accuracy measurement of ultra pure water. Of course, new $3 million state-of-the-art R&D facility opened. So they got some money. Yeah, and any of this stuff. First accurate commercial fiber optic based CO2 measurement system. Yeah. So why? Of course, and they have German ties. So of course, it's very, very possible they would have calculated all that national security stuff. Look at all the stuff they do. Acquired Victory Engineering Company. So there's an engineering company they acquired in 1999. Biomedical Research and Technology Transfer Commission by Governor Bob Taft in 2000. So yeah, they're getting a little more government involved, of course. Yeah, okay. So that does tie right into what they may calculate this YSI, and now and the German connection, guys, and the German Scheidendeist, Shire, yeah, SD Security Services Nazi. They're in the SS. So that gets you through random hits, guys. And I was just reading a little more about this YSI to see if they might calculate this sort of thing, and they might. You bet. They got some government ties. They got some German ties. It fits right in there, and that's interesting. Am I ready to call it yet? No, we still got too much more to go. But boy, oh boy, does it look like you got a pattern leading right back to YSI and water monitoring, but they do so much more, obviously, and I'll provide the links. So that gets you through this. A little twist here, guys. But actually, that twist leads you right back to the suspected the suspected company anyway. So that's interesting. So thanks for all your thumbs up, thumbs down. Thanks for all your comments, leads, feedback, and subscriptions. And I know they're uploading a little bit faster today, and I have a little bit of time, so I'm trying to get through 2 princes so we can move on. Obviously, we still want 100 pages of graph, and that's becoming more and more difficult to achieve the more and more we have to do, and it's going to go slower and slower still. So I'm trying to get as much out as I can today out of the way. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and thanks for bearing with us. And this one hopefully was worth it. This was an interesting one. So for now, you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see how much farther, if any farther at all, that we get.